Stop looking for a pay raise. Stop waiting for a secure job to save you. Your current path is a slow motion trap designed to keep you broke, tired, and dependent. Most people spend their lives working for money. The wealthy make money work for them. If you do not learn the difference between an asset and a liability today, you will be a slave to a paycheck forever. Listen closely, the rules have changed, and your ignorance is costing you a fortune. This is the only truth about wealth you will ever need. Chapter 1: Stop working for money. Stop working for money. This is the first and most painful lesson you must master. If you fail here, nothing else in this audiobook will save you. Most people spend their entire lives trapped in a cycle they don't even realize they are in. They wake up, go to work, pay bills, and repeat. They do this for 40 years and wonder why they are always stressed. They wonder why they never have enough. They think the answer is a bigger paycheck. They are wrong. A bigger paycheck will not solve a lack of financial discipline. It will only accelerate your debt. This is where most people fail. You have been conditioned from childhood to be a high-quality employee. You were told to get good grades so you could get a secure job with good benefits. That is a lie. There is no such thing as a secure job. A job is a short-term solution to a long-term problem. When you work for a paycheck, you are giving away the most valuable asset you own, your time. You are selling your life in exchange for a number on a screen. The rich do not do this. The rich do not work for money. They make money work for them. You have a choice. You can continue to be a slave to the clock, or you can start building a machine that works while you sleep. Look at your life right now. Why do you go to work? For most of you, the answer is fear. You are afraid of not paying your rent. You are afraid of what your neighbors will think if you lose your car. You are afraid of being broke. This fear drives you to the office, to the factory, or to the store every single morning. And once the paycheck hits your account, greed takes over. You start thinking about the new phone, the better clothes, or the vacation you think you deserve because you worked so hard. Fear and greed are the two emotions that keep the poor and middle class trapped in the rat race forever. That's the key. If you cannot control these two emotions, you will never be free. It doesn't matter how much you earn. If fear and greed run your life, you are just a well-paid slave. You must break the emotional cycle of working harder just to pay higher bills. Most people get a raise and immediately buy a bigger house or a faster car. Their expenses rise to meet their income. This is a trap. They think they're getting ahead, but they are actually digging a deeper hole. They are working harder and harder for the bank, for the government, and for their landlord. They are not working for themselves. This is where most people fail. They believe that more money will solve their problems, but more money without financial intelligence only leads to more disaster. Stop focusing on your salary. Your salary is the smallest, most taxed form of income you will ever receive. The government takes their cut before you even see the money. Then the bank takes their cut for your mortgage. Then the credit card companies take theirs. By the time you are done, there is nothing left for you. You are working for everyone else except yourself. You don't need their permission to stop this cycle. You just need the discipline to change how you see money. Real wealth begins the moment you stop trading your hours for dollars. If you have to be physically present for money to be made, you have a job. If your money makes money without you being there, you have wealth. It is that simple. The rich focus on the asset column. They focus on acquiring systems, businesses, and investments that generate cash flow. They don't care about looking rich, they care about being rich. They ignore the security of a steady paycheck because they know that true security comes from owning the means of production. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. You must destroy the belief that hard work alone makes you wealthy. If hard work made people rich, the hardest workers in the world would be the wealthiest. They aren't. Hard work is a requirement, but it must be applied to the right things. Working hard for a boss makes the boss rich. Working hard for yourself makes you free. You have a choice. Every morning you wake up, you are deciding which path to take. Are you going to spend today building someone else's dream, or are you going to start laying the bricks for your own? Most people are too afraid to even try. They say, I can't afford to quit my job. No one is telling you to quit your job today. We are telling you to change your focus. Keep your job, but stop letting it be your only source of life. Stop giving it your best energy and leaving the scraps for your own future. Use your job to fund your assets. Use your salary to buy back your freedom. This is where most people break. They get tired. They want to relax. They want to watch TV and forget about their debt. They lack the discipline to work their 9 to 5 and then work their 6 to 10 on their own empire. Wealth is a mindset before it is a bank balance. You have to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an owner. An employee asks, how much does this pay? An owner asks, how does this system work? An employee looks for a stable company. An owner looks for an undervalued asset. That's the key. You must train your eyes to see opportunities that others miss because they are too busy looking for a help wanted sign. Stop being a victim of your circumstances. Stop blaming the economy, the government, or your boss for your lack of wealth. You are exactly where you are because of the choices you have made with your money and your time. If you want a different result, you must make a different choice. You don't need their permission to become wealthy. You don't need a degree, a loan, or a lucky break. You need to stop working for money and start making money work for you. Don't work for money, make money work for you. This is the foundation of everything that follows. If you can't get past the need for a safe paycheck, you will stay exactly where you are. You will continue to struggle while others thrive. You will continue to complain while others collect. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. The discipline to say no to immediate gratification. The discipline to invest when others are spending. The discipline to learn when others are playing. You now understand the trap. You know that fear and greed are the walls of your cage. You know that your paycheck is the bait that keeps you inside. Now you must learn the language of the rich. You must learn how to distinguish between what makes you rich and what keeps you broke. You must understand the math of the game. The first step toward freedom is knowing what to buy and what to avoid. Most people are busy collecting things that take money out of their pockets while they think they are getting ahead. They are confused. They are frustrated. They are buying their own chains. You cannot afford to be one of them. You must master the most important rule in the world of money. Chapter 2: Buy assets, kill liabilities. The single most important rule in the quest for wealth is understanding the difference between an asset and a liability. If you want to be rich, this is the only math you ever need to master. Most people spend their entire lives working for things that bleed them dry, all while calling those things investments. They are not investments, they are anchors. They are the reason you feel like you are running in place. That's the key. If you do not know what you are buying, you are not an investor, you are a victim of marketing. Let's define the terms simply. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket. That is it. Forget the complex definitions from your high school accounting book. If it doesn't pay you, it isn't an asset. The rich spend their lives collecting assets. The poor and middle class spend their lives collecting liabilities that they think are assets. This is where most people fail. They buy a bigger house, a faster car, and expensive clothes, thinking they are building wealth. In reality, they are just building a bigger cage. You must have the discipline to look at every dollar you spend and ask, is this feeding me or is it eating me? Most people buy a house and call it their greatest asset. They are wrong. Unless that house is generating rental income that exceeds its expenses, it is a liability. It demands a mortgage payment, property taxes, insurance, and maintenance. It takes money out of your pocket every single month. You have a choice. You can spend 30 years of your life paying off a liability, or you can use that same money to buy assets that pay for your lifestyle. True wealth is not measured by the size of your paycheck. It is measured by your cash flow. If your income stops today, how long can you survive? For most, the answer is less than a month. That is because their lives are built on a foundation of liabilities. They have a rich lifestyle but a poor person's balance sheet. They are one missed paycheck away from total disaster. This is where most people break. They are addicted to the appearance of wealth, and that addiction keeps them broke. You must stop buying things to impress people you don't even like. Every time you buy a liability, you are giving away a piece of your future freedom. Every time you buy an asset, you are hiring a worker who will eventually replace you. The rich buy their luxuries last, using the income generated by their assets. The poor and middle class buy their luxuries first, using their own sweat and blood. You don't need their permission to live a modest life while you build your empire. Ignore the social pressure to upgrade your life every time you get a raise. Real-world behavior requires a total shift in how you handle your bank account. From this moment on, your goal is to keep your expenses low and your asset column high. Stop looking at the sticker price of a car and start looking at the opportunity cost of that money. If you spend $50,000 on a car, you aren't just losing $50,000, you are losing the millions that money could have earned if it were invested in assets. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. It takes no talent to spend money, it takes immense discipline to keep it. You must become a hunter of assets. This means looking for stocks that pay dividends, real estate that provides rent, businesses that don't require your physical presence, and intellectual property that earns royalties. These are the engines of freedom. Your job is to collect as many of these engines as possible. Most people say, I'll start investing when I have more money. That is a lie they tell themselves to justify their laziness. You start with what you have. You start by killing one liability at a time. That's the key. Analyze your bank statement from the last 90 days. Look at where your money went, how much of it went into assets, how much of it disappeared into liabilities. If you are like 95% of the population, your asset column is empty. Change that today. Stop the bleeding. Cancel the subscriptions you don't use. Sell the toys that are draining your cash. Use that recovered money to buy your first small asset. This is where most people fail. They think the small steps don't matter. They matter more than the giant leaps because the small steps build the habit. You must destroy the belief that a high-paying job makes you wealthy. Doctors and lawyers are often some of the most broke people because their liabilities are as high as their incomes. They are forced to work harder and harder just to maintain their status. They are trapped by their own success. You do not want a high-status life, you want a high-freedom life. You have a choice. You can look rich or you can be rich. You cannot do both until your assets are large enough to pay for your ego. Kill your liabilities before they kill your future. Every liability you eliminate is a weight removed from your shoulders. Every asset you acquire is a step toward the day you never have to work for a boss again. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. The discipline to live below your means so you can eventually live beyond your wildest dreams. You now know the rule: assets feed you, liabilities bleed you. You have the formula for wealth. But having the formula is not enough if you don't know how to protect what you build. The world is designed to take your wealth through taxes and bad advice. If you want to keep what you earn, you have to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like a business owner. You need to stop working for the government and start working for your own legacy. The rich don't just buy assets, they own the structures that protect those assets. They don't leave their wealth out in the open for the world to grab. They mind their own business, and it's time you did the same. Chapter 3: Mind Your Own Business. Most people spend their lives working in someone else's business and making that person rich. They mistake their profession for their business. Your profession is what you do for 40 hours a week to collect a paycheck. Your business is what you do for yourself to build your asset column. If you want to be wealthy, you must stop neglecting your own empire to build someone else. This is where most people fail. They become so obsessed with their job title, their corner office, and their salary that they forget they are just a line item on someone else's balance sheet. You must understand that your job is not your business. Your boss is not your partner, they are your customer, and you are selling them your time at a wholesale price. When you leave that job, you take nothing with you but a resume. The business stays with the owner, the assets stay with the owner, you are left with zero. You have a choice. You can continue to spend your best years making stockholders wealthy, or you can start minding your own business today. Minding your own business means focusing on your asset column, not your income column. Your income is what you earn at your job. Your assets are what earn for you while you sleep. Most people are too tired after a day of work to think about their own business. They come home, eat, and distract themselves. They have the energy to work for a boss, but they lack the discipline to work for themselves. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. If you can give 8 hours a day to someone else, you can give 2 hours a day to your own future. Stop identifying with your job. You are not an accountant or a manager. Those are just roles you play to fund your real mission. Your real mission is to acquire income-producing assets. Real estate, stocks, bonds, intellectual property. These are the components of your business. As long as you are focused on your salary, you are minding your employer's business. The moment you shift your focus to your net worth and your passive cash flow, you are finally minding your own. That's the key. A common excuse is, I don't have enough money to start a business. This is a poor man's mindset. Minding your own business doesn't mean you have to quit your job and start a massive company tomorrow. It means you keep your day job, but you start buying assets with your surplus cash. You treat your personal finances like a corporation. You are the CEO. Your goal is to keep expenses low, minimize taxes, and maximize the acquisition of assets. You don't need their permission to start acting like a business owner right now. You must protect your assets with the same intensity that a business owner protects their trade secrets. Once a dollar goes into your asset column, never let it come out. Think of every dollar as an employee. Your goal is to have thousands of these employees working for you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They don't take vacations, they don't get sick, and they don't ask for raises. This is where most people break. They see their asset column grow, and they immediately want to reward themselves by pulling money out to buy a liability. That is a betrayal of your business. You are firing your best employees just to buy a toy. Look at the wealthy. They don't buy the Mercedes with their salary. They buy the Mercedes with the income generated by their assets. They mind their business first, and their business buys them their luxury. The poor and middle class do the opposite. They buy the luxury with their own sweat, leaving nothing left to invest in their business. This is where most people fail. They want the prize without the process. They want the fruit without planting the tree. You must become financially literate. You cannot mind your business if you don't understand the language of business. You need to know how to read a financial statement. You need to know the difference between gross income and net income. If you are ignorant of these things, you will always be at the mercy of those who aren't. That's the key. Knowledge is the ultimate leverage. The more you know about how money moves, the less of it you will lose to people who are minding their business at your expense. Stop being a good employee and start being a great owner. A good employee waits for instructions. A great owner looks for opportunities. A good employee worries about their benefits. A great owner worries about their equity. You have a choice. You can be comfortable and broke, or you can be disciplined and wealthy. The world is full of people who followed the rules and ended up with nothing. Don't be one of them. Take control of your time. Take control of your focus. Minding your own business requires you to be ruthless with your distractions. Every hour you spend scrolling through social media is an hour you could have spent researching an investment or building a side hustle. Every dollar you spend on a subscription you don't use is a dollar that could have been working for you in the market. It's not about motivation, it's about discipline. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you minding your business when the initial excitement fades. The path to freedom is simple, but it isn't easy. It requires you to stop looking for security in a paycheck and start finding it in your own ability to produce. It requires you to stop asking for a raise and start asking how you can buy the company. You don't need their permission to be the boss of your own life. You now understand that your job is just a tool to fund your real business, your asset column. You have committed to minding your own business and ignoring the siren song of job security. But as you start to build your wealth, you will find that the biggest obstacle isn't the market or the economy, it's the system itself. The government and the tax man are waiting to take a piece of everything you build. If you don't know the secret history of taxes and the power of corporations, you will lose your wealth as fast as you create it. You've learned to build your own empire. Now, you must learn how to protect it. Chapter 4: Master the Law of Wealth. The biggest expense in your life is not your rent, your mortgage, or your car, it is taxes. Most people work from January to May just to pay the government. They work for 5 months out of the year for free, and they don't even realize it. If you do not understand the law of wealth and the power of corporations, you are playing a game where the rules are rigged against you. The poor and middle class pay taxes first and live on what is left. The rich use corporations to spend first and pay taxes on what is left. This is where most people fail. They play by the rules of the employee, while the wealthy play by the rules of the owner. You must realize that the tax code is not just a list of burdens, it is a map of incentives. The government wants you to provide jobs, build housing, and invest in the economy. If you do those things, they reward you with tax breaks. If you simply show up to a job and collect a paycheck, they penalize you with the highest tax rates possible. You have a choice. You can be the person who pays for the system, or you can be the person the system was built to protect. A corporation is not a building, it is not a factory, it is simply a legal folder with some papers in it that creates a separate entity. This entity is a shield. It protects your assets from lawsuits and it protects your income from excessive taxation. When you work a job, you are a target. When you own a corporation, you have a fortress. That's the key. You don't need to be a billionaire to own a corporation. You just need the discipline to set one up and the intelligence to run your life through it. The rich use corporations to deduct their expenses before the government ever sees a dime of their profit. Their travel, their board meetings, their equipment, and their education are often paid for with pre-tax dollars. Meanwhile, the employee pays for their life with after-tax dollars. If you earn $100 and get taxed 30%, you only have $70 to spend. If a corporation earns $100 and spends $70 on business expenses, it only gets taxed on the remaining $30. This is where most people fail. They think corporations are evil or complex, so they stay in the high tax bracket of the employee, losing millions of dollars over their lifetime. You must stop being a victim of your own ignorance. Financial literacy is the only way to escape the legal theft of your wealth. You need to understand accounting, investing, markets, and the law. These 4 pillars make up your financial IQ. Without them, you are just a sheep waiting to be sheared. You don't need their permission to learn these things. You don't need a law degree to understand how a trust works or how to utilize a 1031 exchange. You just need the discipline to study the rules of the game you are playing. Understand this: the law is neutral. It doesn't care if you are a good person or a hard worker. It only cares if you follow it. The poor often complain that the rich don't pay their fair share. In reality, the rich are simply following the instructions the government wrote. If the government offers a reward for investing in renewable energy or low-income housing, the rich take it. The poor ignore it and continue to pay the highest tax rate on their salary. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. It takes discipline to learn the tax code. It takes discipline to document your expenses. It takes discipline to move from being an individual to being an entity. Stop looking for loopholes. There are no loopholes, there are only laws. The system is designed to reward those who create wealth and punish those who only consume it. When you buy a liability, you get taxed. When you buy an asset through a corporation, you get subsidized. That's the key. You must align your interests with the interests of the law. If the law favors business owners, become a business owner. If the law favors investors, become an investor. Most people are too lazy to do the paperwork. They say it's too much trouble to track their receipts or meet with an accountant. These are the same people who will work 40 extra years because they lost half their wealth to the IRS. This is where most people break. They can handle the physical labor of a job, but they cannot handle the mental labor of managing their own wealth. They would rather complain about taxes than learn how to legally avoid them. You must protect yourself. We live in a litigious society. If you own everything in your own name, you are a sitting duck for every lawsuit and creditor. The rich own nothing but control everything. They hold their assets in corporations, trusts, and LLCs. If someone sues them, they find that the individual has no assets, the corporation does. You don't need their permission to protect your family's future. You just need to stop thinking like a peasant and start thinking like a king. Mastering the law of wealth means moving from a defensive position to an offensive one. You are no longer just trying to survive the tax season, you are using the law to accelerate your growth. Every dollar you save in taxes is a dollar you can use to buy more assets. It is a compounding effect that separates the wealthy from the struggling. You have a choice. You can fund the government's mistakes, or you can fund your own freedom. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. It is the discipline to stay informed. It is the discipline to hire the right professionals to help you. It is the discipline to treat your life like a business. You have learned how to stop working for money. You have learned to buy assets and kill liabilities. You have learned to mind your own business and protect it with the law. You have the foundation. Now you must learn how to see what everyone else misses. Most people are waiting for a good job to appear or for the market to get better. They are waiting for someone to give them an opportunity. The rich don't wait for opportunities, they create them. They don't find money, they invent it. If you want to reach the highest levels of wealth, you must learn to use your greatest asset, your mind. You must learn to see the invisible deals and the hidden paths to fortune. Chapter 5: Invent Your Own Money. In the real world, it is not the smart who get ahead, but the bold. Most people are waiting for the perfect opportunity to fall into their laps. They wait for the right market conditions, the right interest rates, or the right amount of savings. They are waiting for a permission slip that will never come. The rich do not find money, they invent it. They use their financial intelligence to see opportunities that are invisible to everyone else. This is where most people fail. They are looking for a job to provide them with money, while the wealthy are looking for problems to solve and assets to create. Your mind is your greatest asset. If trained properly, it can create enormous wealth in an instant. If untrained, it will keep you in poverty for a lifetime. Most people only know one way to make money: work hard, save, and pray the stock market goes up. That is a slow, outdated strategy to invent money. You must develop the ability to see what others miss. You must learn to put deals together that require more intelligence than capital. You have a choice. You can be a passive observer of the economy, or you can be an active creator of your own wealth. To invent money, you must master 3 specific skills. First, you must find an opportunity that everyone else has missed. While everyone else is complaining about a bad neighborhood or a failing industry, the rich are looking for the hidden value. Second, you must know how to raise capital. Most people think they need their own money to invest. The rich know how to use other people's money. They know how to pitch an idea so clearly that others are eager to fund it. Third, you must know how to organize smart people. You don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You just need to know how to manage those who are. That's the key. Wealth is created by solving problems. The bigger the problem, the bigger the profit. The poor see a problem and complain. The rich see a problem and see a payday. If a house is in foreclosure and rotting, the poor see a mess. The rich see a chance to negotiate with the bank, renovate the property, and create a cash-flowing asset out of thin air. They invent the equity through their intelligence and effort. This is where most people break. They are too afraid of making a mistake to take the first step. They want a guarantee, but in the world of invented money, there are no guarantees, only calculated risks. You must stop saying, "I can't afford it." This phrase is a mental shut-off valve. It kills your creativity. It gives you an excuse to stop thinking. Instead, ask yourself, how can I afford it? This forces your brain to go to work. It forces you to look for ways to invent the money you need. Maybe it's a joint venture. Maybe it's seller financing. Maybe it's a new business model. You don't need their permission to be creative. You just need the discipline to stay in the game until you find the solution. The world is changing faster than ever. Digital assets, new technologies, and shifting markets mean that money is being invented every second. If you are stuck in the mindset of saving pennies, you will be left behind. Saving is for losers in an era of inflation. You must be an investor, not a saver. You must be a creator, not a consumer. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. It takes discipline to study the market every day. It takes discipline to look at 100 deals just to find one that works. Most people are paralyzed by the fear of losing. They think that if they don't have a steady paycheck, they will starve. This fear keeps them from ever trying to invent their own money. But the truth is, the biggest risk is doing nothing. The biggest risk is relying on a single source of income that someone else controls. This is where most people fail. They seek security and find fragility. The rich seek freedom and find strength because they know they can invent money wherever they go. You must train your brain to see the world as a series of deals. Every business you walk into, every building you pass, every problem you hear someone complain about, these are all potential assets. To the untrained eye, the world is a place of scarcity. To the financially intelligent eye, the world is a place of infinite abundance. That's the key. You are not limited by your bank account. You are limited by your imagination and your willingness to act. Stop waiting for a good economy. Some of the greatest fortunes in history were invented during the worst depressions. When everyone else is selling in a panic, the rich are buying. When everyone else is hiding, the rich are building. You have a choice. You can follow the herd into the slaughterhouse of the middle class, or you can step away and start inventing your own path. It's not about talent, it's about discipline. It is the discipline to keep your eyes open when everyone else is closing theirs. It is the discipline to keep looking for the deal when you've been told no 50 times. It is the discipline to believe in your own ability to create value out of nothing. You have learned that money is an invention of the mind. You have learned to see the opportunities that others miss. But even the best ideas can be destroyed by one thing: fear. Most people know what they should do, but they are too afraid to do it. They are afraid of losing money, afraid of looking stupid, and afraid of failing. To truly master wealth, you must learn to handle risk. You must learn to dance with the very thing that keeps everyone else paralyzed. You now have the foundation. You know why the trap was built and why most people never escape it. But knowing isn't doing. In the next part, we're going into the specific mechanics of how the rich protect what they build, starting with the secrets of the tax code and the power of corporations. If you're ready to stop being a line item on someone else's balance sheet, hit the notification bell. Your education is just beginning. I'll see you in part 2.